All right, we'll kick it off. Click the next slide, I guess.
Oh, for that, I need the clicker.
Minor details. 3 days in, we got this. Cool, well, welcome guys. Thank you so much for being here. I do have a favor to ask for everyone in the room. We have 2 sessions going on right now. One is next door. If you guys could be significantly louder, it's gonna make us feel a lot better. And it's gonna put them, little hesitation, so it's good. Anyways, my name is Alex. I'm extremely excited to help present today. So we're gonna get an exclusive look at AI Coach, some of the new AI models, positive driving, and really look at how you can define your fleet safety to really focus on rewarding drivers and building a better, stronger safety program. So we have a packed session, so we're gonna get some tips from Nihar and Clint on how to tailor your program and how to scale that coaching session. So we're gonna dive into a little bit about those new AI behaviors. Nihar's gonna cover some details about kind of how we built them and how they function and how you guys can utilize them. We'll look at how we tailor your safety program, so some of the settings you can configure, and then we'll get some real-world examples of how those are set with MHC. We'll then look at scaling coaching with AI Coach and how that compares to some of the other coaching capabilities in the platform, and then we'll look at some key takeaways and open it up for questions. So with that, I'll turn it to you, Nihar. Oh, intros.
Yeah, we'll do some quick intros. I can start. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I think it's still morning, yeah. Nihar Gupta. I'm on our product team here at Motive, and I own our safety products. This will be a great chat. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to pass it on to you all to intro too.
Good morning. Clint Mercado here with MHC Kenworth. Before I get started, I want to thank everybody for attending and thank Motive for the opportunity to talk. Even though we all deal with safety in our companies, I feel like the safety profession is a very well-knit, tight family. So if anything that we can share from our end and our trials and tribulations, we'd be happy to help. Myself, Brady from our team is back there as well. Wave us down, we'd be happy to help with anything. We've been doing this for about 11 years now as far as the dash cam systems. So we've had a lot of slips and falls, and but also a lot of accomplishments as well. But doing this for almost 25 years. I've been with MHC for the last 13 years as our corporate safety manager. And what that entails is mentoring regional safety managers. We have 5 of them. And then also oversight on their safety program as well. A little bit about MHC. Okay, there we go. We are the largest Kenworth dealer in North America. 130 locations, over 19 states. And we have all makes and models. So there's a little bit of confusion on what we do. We are not a trucking company. We sell Kenworths, but the bulk of our business is parts and service. So a lot of our folks drive F-150s, Chevy Silverados, and that's our sales force, parts delivery, mobile service as well. We've been a Motive customer for a little over a year now. Had a partnership with them for almost 3 years. And look forward to a lot of exciting things that they're doing. And one cool thing that we've accomplished at MHC, we were awarded in 2021 the National Safety Council Green Cross Award for Safety Excellence in Vehicle Safety. So we're really proud about that. So thank you all for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Clint. All right. So let's jump in. We're going to start with, I'm going to just kind of share with you a diagram here, and that's going to be kind of our blueprint for what we're going to talk about today. So we'll start with, AI, which is, really the foundation and the bedrock for a lot of what we do, with safety here at Motive. And we'll talk about a few models in particular. We shared with you an aggressive roadmap if you attended the keynote of all the things that we're working on. Hopefully you got a feel for how we want to innovate from an AI standpoint. I wanted to just double click in a few particular areas from an AI standpoint on some models that we're building. So we'll start with that. And then, beyond just the AI, detection, there's also a lot of customization we offer, right? So hopefully you've gotten a feel for that if you've attended any of the other sessions, or if you just have a good sense for our dashboard and sort of all the options we present. But being able to tailor your safety program the way that you see fit. So we'll talk a bit about some of those options at a high level. And then finally, from a coaching standpoint, right? What is the right driver experience that we want to enable? How do we do that with the driver app and some of the options we have? What about the manager experience as well? And specifically, we'll get into AI Coach and just sort of like peel back the onion a little bit from what you saw in the keynote and maybe some other sessions on how we built it and how we're thinking about it. So all that said, let's start with AI, right? Okay. So the first model that I just wanted to talk a bit more about is something that I'm really excited about that the team is working on, and this is vision-based collision detection. So backing up a moment, right, we do collision detection very well at Motive because we've invested so much time and energy into building a very high recall model, right? So today that uses telematics and a number of different inputs to determine when we think there's a collision. And we detect 99% of high severity collisions. That said, we know that with lower severity collisions, a lot of those are trickier because they might resemble sort of like stop and go traffic if they're if they're fender benders or low intensity. And that's why we want to kind of inject vision into this as well. Nobody's really doing this in the industry today, so it's a novel approach to how we're doing collision detection. When you augment that with our telematics-based approach, this vision-based approach, I think we'll have a tremendous 1-2 punch from a collision detection standpoint. So again, not really something you see a lot of in the industry because every collision sort of like kind of like a snowflake. They're all a little bit different. So it's hard to actually apply computer vision to this problem. But this is something that the team is working on and very excited to be launching here in the next few months. Next, another model here is forward parking detection. And what this is basically what we find is a lot of fleets have a problem with the first move being reverse and that leading to a collision, right? So these are also kind of a form of low intensity collisions. But what we find is fleets want to actually just eliminate these scenarios where it puts the driver in a tough spot, trying to back up as their first move. And so we want to detect what we call forward parking and create actual events off of that, like you see with cell phone events and some of the other events that we have in the dashboard. And we do this with actually telematics today. We're in the process of moving this to what I'd call like an intelligent algorithm that uses things like bearing, speed, and location. And so that's happening right now, and we're going to launch this also probably early Q3 is what we're looking at. So this is forward parking detection. And then the other one that I just wanted to double click into, and don't worry, the pedestrian does not get hit. I know that's super scary. Even I hate watching that video. But this is, we have forward collision warning, right, already in our system as a beta behavior. The point though is, we don't need to restrict ourselves only to vehicles from a forward collision standpoint. We can have different object detectors as they're called. So vehicle is the core one right now, but people, we've heard that's a core one. So again, if we can help drivers in those scenarios, give them an alert, and then do an event capture as well, so you have visibility, fleet managers have visibility. We've heard animals as well, so that's one also on our roadmap to help with a scenario where maybe a deer's crossing at night or what have you. So these are extensions of what we do from a forward collision warning standpoint. This is also something we're working on for the second half of this year. And by the way, we'll have Q&A at the end. I said that right before your hand went up. It wasn't a reaction to your hand going up. But we will have Q&A, so we'll get a chance, spend 10 minutes and talk through kind of some of this if you have questions. Okay, so that is that piece. And then I do want to talk about positive driving as well. We want to make sure that the system is not just punitive in nature, right? And this is why we put so much focus into positive driving recently, because we want to recognize scenarios where the driver's very alert. They see the animal crossing, or maybe they get cut off like you see in this video, and they react the right way. They don't react aggressively. They create a nice safe distance with that vehicle in front. So these forms of driving, whether it's alert driving, whether it's sort of safe distancing, these are forms of positive driving. And we detect these through already our computer vision and algorithms that we have that sends up a bunch of videos for our review, things like potential collision candidates. And then they go through our safety team, right, our annotation team for review. And so that team, they detect, like I mentioned, collisions, or I should say they validate whether those are true collisions or not. They will also invalidate false positives, right? So if for whatever reason the AI missed something, They'll make sure that that doesn't hit your dashboard and the drivers don't get penalized. They also will add positive driving tags as well. So this is something that we know you all want to recognize your drivers as well. That's super important, right? Especially if you want to bring positivity into your safety culture. And so instead of putting that burden on you all to identify those moments and maybe add your own tags and whatnot, which you can do in the system, we want to automate that for you. So that's going to happen through our safety team review of these types of events, so that it just automatically happens behind the scenes for you. And of course, you can still do that if you find videos as well that you want to recognize drivers for, but we're going to do this on your behalf. So that's positive driving. And this is something that we are going to be launching across all of our fleets in the next few weeks. So look forward to that as well. Okay, so that's a bit about AI models. And of course, there's a whole other host of models that we're working on, but wanted to at least give you a preview in the short window of time we have here into a few of them. Let's talk a little bit about tailoring your program. I don't know if folks attended some of the other sessions, like the safety power user one, I think it's called. If you did, you saw a pretty nice deep dive into how all the different options you have in the platform. At a high level, what I wanted to just go over was what are we trying to enable here, right? So hopefully most folks are familiar, but if not, we want to give you, first off, a lot of dials just in terms of how to measure the different AI behaviors and how you want to tailor sort of your own risk profile. What I mean by that is if you want to have a very sensitive sort of detection on cell phone usage, call it 3 seconds of duration, and you want that alert to trigger, you want that eventifier, you can do that in the system. If you want to have something a little bit longer duration, you can do that in the system. That's just one example, but as folks probably know, you can do this across every one of our AI behaviors. It's a level of customization you don't see a lot of in the industry, but it's important because we know that one size doesn't fit all for our fleets, and we've learned that over time. So for everything that we launch, for all of our AI behaviors, we want to make sure you can turn on or off those behaviors, right? If there's some that you don't value, you turn that off. You can change kind of the dials, as well, like we just talked about. Importantly, you can do this not just at the company level. We also know that your fleets are not sort of standardized across all vehicles, right? Maybe you want different sets of settings or customizations for certain vehicles, or by group, right? So vehicle level customization, basically everything you can do at the company level, you'll be able to do at the vehicle level as well. This is actually actively rolling out. So for current customers, this is something that you'll have the ability to go in to the dashboard and change vehicle settings as you see fit. You can also do this at the group level very soon. So once we launch vehicle level, we're going to fast follow that with group level. So if you have different groups, maybe different locations, that you want to have different sets of customizations around how you detect AI. Maybe for new sets of drivers, you want a different group where you're a little bit more aggressive with the alerts and the event generation, and then over time they graduate past that kind of new driver group. Those are all options that you have with group level settings that are going to be coming out soon. Customizable safety score, another feature here. I won't kind of go too deep here. This is something we've had now for a little bit. I think we launched it in 2003, if I remember right. But the point is, like, even your safety score, again, is not a one-size-fits-all thing. We want you all to be able to customize which behaviors impact your safety score and how they impact it, right? So that you can go in and change weights on different behaviors. And then finally, coaching, which we're going to spend a lot more time on. From a coaching standpoint, one of the things that we just launched recently was training videos. So training videos kind of automatically appearing in the driver app for drivers. So essentially taking some of that burden off of fleets to just do that automatically as part of the coaching self-coaching process. And then the other piece here is allowing drivers to self-coach. So we also know that one of the big things and big focuses of ours is to give you all as much leverage as possible from a coaching standpoint. That's why we're doing things like AI Coach. One of the other leverage points, though, is if you want drivers to basically review those videos on their own and consider those coached, you can do that. Maybe you only want to do that for certain behaviors. Again, you can customize which behaviors you want to allow drivers to self-coach on. And we'll talk a lot more about AI Coach after this next segment. So that's a little bit about what we wanted to talk through on in terms of customization options. Okay, that said, let's get into a discussion with these guys.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Clint, can you start maybe with a little bit of like the philosophy? Like MHC, your safety program, you guys are getting national awards. It's obviously like well run. Can you tell us like how you built that and how you built that trust with the drivers?
I'd say our program's built on transparency. And I joked yesterday about Coach Shark stealing our why, but we've been talking about the why for 11 years now. That's very important to MHC, just because you want to know how the technology benefits yourself, right, if you are the driver as well. But we do that in our rollout. And it doesn't matter if what we call a road warrior would be our sales staff, our delivery drivers, our mobile service techs, or a technician that may get in a vehicle once every quarter. They all have the same risk. So our team will go out and get in front of every person, allow them to touch the hardware, understand why we're doing what we're doing, the changes in the technology, how it performs, the benefits from that standpoint. Now, they may not be just jumping for joy for having a video event recorder in their vehicle, but what we say is we want to have the proper UNA, understanding and acceptance, so they have that understanding, right? The next piece is the game film, and I think that relates back to Coach Shark again, that we're very competitive at MHC. We try to hire a very competitive group as well. So when we talk about, we want to be the best at everything we do, operations, sales, but also safety. And everybody thinks they're the best driver out there, but if you've ever driven with this technology, you know that you all have risky driving behaviors. So what we try to explain to our employees is that we want to make average drivers good, good drivers great, and you do that with the game film concept. Because even when you win in a competitive sport, you're always reviewing that game film to improve on your performance.
Well, I promise you he had the why and the game film part before Coach Shark went up. But anyways, and I personally have never gotten an alert for close following, ever. But can you share how you guys have customized the settings? So Nihar talked a lot about all the different capabilities that we have in the platform and how you guys are using that with your drivers.
I would say we like the availability of customizing in real time, but also the in-cab trigger. That's big for us because our rewards program is based off of not having a coachable event. If you have a coachable event, you're out of the running from that standpoint. So our team was excited when we heard that we could do the in-cab alert, because that allows the driver to have a self-coaching opportunity. If they correct it, now it's not turned into a coachable event. So they were all about that when we made the jump from our previous provider to Motive.
Okay. So in-cab you basically have the settings set for differently for in-cab versus the event, and you talked about a rewards program. Can you tell us just a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it is, you have to be in that road warrior role for a whole year. If you have no coachable event, no preventable collision, it's $500 and personalized swag to those individuals. So yeah, it's our folks like it a lot. So
you've had a few drivers do that each year? Like, I mean, no coachable events I would not be up for the reward. Sorry, but
I would say we average about 200 every year. We actually recognize at one of our annual service managers meeting, we've had 2 employees that went a whole decade without having a coachable event. So think about that. And they're probably in the hardest role that our folks do. They're our mobile service technicians. So not only are they driving every day to and from locations, they're working on a Class 8 truck and then getting back in that vehicle. And for 10 years, these 2 individuals, which are master techs as well, have not had a coachable event.
Anybody else's fleet match up to that level of, I'm not saying
pretty
single
cool.
hand.
So,
that's why most impressed me about your
program. We're very
program.
proud about that.
Like, you build the trust with the drivers, you give them the chance to self-correct. Is that on every capability of the platform for self-correct, or?
No, we have a very fine line when it comes to distracted driving, a zero tolerance policy.
Yeah.
So if that is displayed, then that turns into event. But some of your less severe events, so rolling stop, following distance, that's where we have the in-cab trigger turned on for.
Very cool. So no cell phones.
Correct. No
Got
cell-
it. No
no
cell
cell
phones.
phones.
All right. So,
No cell phones.
so when things do become an event, obviously you enable a little bit of in-cab correction. What happens when it does become an event? Are they self-coaching? Are you guys doing like person to person? Like what's your guys' philosophy or approach on coaching those drivers when something becomes an event?
I would say we're more of the traditional model in the past. We value that face-to-face interaction with our employees because in our thought process is that it turns into a much broader conversation of how are we doing as a company and all that. But with the changes of technology, AI coach, we are very excited about the possibility of turning into more of a hybrid model.
Okay.
So depending on, again, what behavior they can display, I think if you've seen one rolling stop, you've seen really a number of them, right? So we may kind of pick and choose how we want to change that model.
Okay.
But we have the same pain points as everybody else as far as the consistent message, new managers, and timely coaching as well. So that'll all play into what the model that we go to.
Okay. Cool. So inconsistency. You guys are hiring. Sounds like new managers coming on all the time.
Yeah.
And then what's your coaching turnaround right now? Like what's that requirement?
So we require our folks to coach within 24 hours. And we monitor that. The regional safety managers are monitoring that. If it goes beyond that 24 hours, we're usually on the horn with those coaches. Hey, we need to get them coached up now. We've done a lot of cool things, but we still struggle with coaching sometimes. So we welcome some of these new things that Motive is doing. So.
Well, again, national awards, 24-hour turnaround, and over 100 drivers getting a $500 annual for no events. So I'll just start it, but that's pretty impressive. It's also against them. Yeah, the other room. There we go.
It's all of our drivers and coaches. So,
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So at this point, I'm going to turn it back to Nihar. We're going to talk a little bit about how we might be able to help with some of that consistency approach and be able to help with that delivery mechanism.
Yeah, great stuff there, Clint and Alex. I think not everybody has sort of that 24-hour turnaround policy, and even Clint mentioned, right? Like it's hard to achieve that sometimes, especially as you keep scaling out the team, scaling out the number of drivers, as more and more AI comes online, right? And so I think like some of these challenges that we've talked about this week, right? Being able to do coaching consistently, right, across all of your drivers and from coach to coach, even like your different coaches might have different capabilities or different quality levels on how they're delivering, right? Doing it in a timely way. We just talked about that as well. Doing it across all of your drivers, especially if you're expanding, but even just the volume of drivers and the volume of events that need to be coached on. So that's where again things like AI Coach will come into play, right? So let's just take a look at an example here first. You hopefully again got a sense for what this is like, right? This is obviously there's an audio voiceover on this. There's an avatar that's delivering this. These are real events from the driver. Let's talk a bit more about like how we got here. First off, there's like several different components here to building AI Coach. One is the avatar itself. Okay, you would not believe how many different discussions we had internally on like just choosing of the avatar. Everybody's got opinions on what the avatars should look like and which ones are the best. So there's going to be, I think like our general philosophy on that is we don't want to be very restrictive in only having one or two options. So our goal is to actually have a roster of avatars that you can choose from. And then of course, as you saw with Tim Guy, the safety guy from RoadSafe, we want to give you the ability to actually build a customizable avatar as well. And there's some things that we're going to explore there. But the avatar creation process, selection and creation, getting this right, is obviously like super important. And then getting the voice matched to the avatar in a way where it's actually delivered the right way, where the lips are moving at the right time. Like these things matter tremendously. And the tech has come so far in the last couple of years. I'm going to play this too, and just a brief warning. It's a little bit creepy, but we'll talk about it in a moment here in a moment here after you hear it. Actually, never mind. We don't have audio. What am I talking about? So you actually get to skip the creepiness part. What you're seeing though is basically we have several different voices that we kind of played with to see what made the most sense, what was most realistic, and how do you match that to the avatar. So the voice creation is also done all through AI. both the avatar generation, the matching to the voice, the voice creation itself, all of this is delivered via AI. And then the final component is what's actually being delivered, the script part. This is also done through large language models. So we feed a model a bunch of data about this driver because we don't want to just give a generic script that isn't very meaningful or relatable. It has to be very kind of hyper-specific to that driver. What did that driver do in the last week? What kinds of events did they generate? How is it impacting their safety score? So we do that in a very specific and structured way such that we get the output we want that then feeds into the voice creation, that feeds into the avatar, and together you string all those together and you get the full solution. So the point here is all of this is done with kind of like cutting edge AI technology, and that's what enables us to deliver that AI coach. Let's actually just like go one level deeper. So when we think about kind of the anatomy of one of these recaps, and the way, if it wasn't clear, the way this is going to be delivered initially is going to be a weekly safety recap. Okay, so what that means is, after the driver week, after the safety score is generated for that week, that's when the safety score recap is going to appear in that driver app for the driver to review. And just as you want your coaches to deliver a very kind of structured, presentation, right, or coaching session, I should say, with the drivers, right? You want that to be delivered in a meaningful way, in a relatable way. We want to take kind of the same approach with the recap. So we start with the introduction, right? We want this AI coach to be, again, somebody that the driver can get to know effectively, somebody that's relatable. They're going to be hearing from this, from this coach theoretically every week, and maybe even with higher frequency as we, continue to iterate on this feature. So introduce themselves, right? Talk about the safety score, how it's been changing, right? Is it going up? Is it going down, right? So again, set the context for the discussion, just like you would want a coach to do. What are the main behaviors that are impacting that score? So this will all be, again, based on that specific driver, and each driver is going to have a different kind of coaching video. And so we'll look at those top three behaviors, have representative videos of those behaviors as well. So that'll all be part of that AI coach experience. What are the things that we want the driver to take away, right? We want to show them, here are the things to work on. Here's what you did well, right? These positive driving behaviors. And here, as a reminder, I want you to work on these like 2 or 3 things. So we want those actionable takeaways and then the conclusion. So again, it's meant to be structured and mirror what you would find in an actual coaching conversation with your coach and with your driver. The other point here is we also want you to be able to see what's being delivered. Obviously, this is happening in the driver app, okay? But we want you to have the ability to audit those videos, to go watch those videos. So you can go into the platform, you can see the exact video that was delivered to your driver, by driver. So this is also important because we don't want this to happen in isolation. We want you to have full visibility and control of, over this experience. So that's where we're starting. I think there's a lot more we can do here with AI Coach. We talked about different customizations. I'd love feedback from you all after the session or even during Q&A if there are things that, what if the AI Coach could do X, Y, or Z? We're still learning and we're still building here, but I think this is a very compelling way to actually deliver coaching that we're very excited about, and it's all AI, AI-led.
Hi, Charlie. Coach Chris here. Let's go over your weekly recap. We'll highlight what you did well and go over a few areas to help you stay safe and efficient on the road. Charlie, your safety score this week is 80. Let's highlight some behaviors that impacted your score. First, we'll cover an area for recognition, safe distancing. Next, we'll cover areas for improvement, cell phone usage and vehicle idling. Charlie, you handled it perfectly when vehicles cut you off, creating a safe following distance. Your quick, responsible reaction reduced the risk of an accident. Great job. Let's review an area for improvement. You had 4 instances of cell phone use this week. Even a quick glance can be dangerous, and distracted driving is a leading cause of accidents. To stay safe, pull over before using your phone and stay focused on the road. Another area of improvement is vehicle idling. Charlie, you idled for over 15 minutes on Thursday in San Jose, despite not being in the vehicle and with mild weather. Minimizing idling in such conditions saves fuel, cuts costs, and reduces emissions. Here are some key takeaways. First, great job creating a safe following distance. Next, avoid phone use. Lastly, reduce vehicle idling whenever possible to improve fuel efficiency. I appreciate your commitment. and know you'll continue making great decisions on the road. Let's keep up the progress and have a fantastic week.
So we did that in a bit of a reverse order, but you can see actually maybe it even makes sense this way. I talked to you about sort of the anatomy of a recap, and you can see kind of the different segments there. And then also importantly, we've been talking about safety mostly, but this doesn't have to be isolated to safety. You saw the fuel idling example. We could do this with compliance coaching as well. So the point is, there's a lot of extensibility for how we do AI Coach. And then just to complete this, and since we've talked about this creepy voice now for a while, let's actually just let's actually go to the next one if it'll allow me to. Here we go. Okay.
Hi, thanks for reviewing your safety score with me. Today we'll go through a quick recap of your recent
driving activity and identify areas to level up. Let's jump in.
Charlie, your safety score decreased from 71 to 64 this week,
indicating areas that need attention. Let's keep up the effort and work on these behaviors to improve your safety record. I wish you a fantastic week.
It's kind of just so weird and surreal to me to see the voice change as she's talking. But again, all AI generated, even the selection of the voice, it's so important, right? You want to get the right voice for the right persona. And so that was a process that we went through, but wanted to share that with you as well. So let's go back to Chris and Alex now.
Cool. Can we first maybe, again, somebody talked about Samuel L. Jackson. Can we do Sam Kinison and Chris Farley and maybe a couple others? Get off the road now! No, anyways.
So we could do a Samuel L. Avatar. That could be highly effective, or The Rock or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Stay safe. Get off the road.
All right.
That's my excitement. What excites you about AI Coach? Are you guys going to use this for everything? Are you going to do that augmentation, or how are you going to use it with your team?
The last kind of debriefing that we did, we talked about pain points. So anytime we can control that message a little bit more from a consistency level, I feel like our mouths hit the floor when the coaching turns into, hey, do this because I said so, or because corporate told me to, right?
Yeah.
You kind of lose all credibility in your program when you have that happen. So if we can mix and match and or just help our coaches understand that message. So we're really excited about, was it Coach Tony? No, Coach
Chris?
Coach Chris, yes. Yeah, anytime we can, I think it hits home more when you see an MHC peer or a uniform in a truck and the same type of job code, that the message hits home a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we fully would like to take advantage of, kind of customizing that from our end. So
You have Nihar's number. Just keep texting
Right,
him.
exactly.
Go for weekends, evenings, all that stuff. So
and we'd like to get it down to Brady covers 2 regions, right?
Yeah.
So Brady could be
different segments.
yeah.
Okay.
Not trying to
No,
put too
we're
much
just
on
going to start
your plate.
taking notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Again, deliver it from the person who's near them, and then again escalate that up. And somebody else talked about in the last session escalations, thinking through that and hey, how does this get elevated to the rest of the company? So Clint, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to stick around for questions. I got a couple more slides, and then you guys can pepper Clint and Nihar with all the questions you want. So I think we learned a lot today in terms of the session, kind of what we covered. We looked at some new AI behaviors. As you heard in the session, Ask Me Anything earlier today, come with your feedback. Let us know if there's other AI behaviors you want. Let him know. Let us know what's working. Let us know why it's impactful for your organization. Definitely take a look at those configuration settings. I think the way MHC has it set up builds a lot of that trust with the drivers, right? It gives them a chance to self-correct for things that aren't obviously distracted driving your cell phone. So they get a chance to build trust in the organization and trust in the process. And when you do have to coach them, make sure you deliver the why. Make sure that they know it's not just, like you said, just do this because I told you so. It's answering my 4-year-old because, oh yeah, that's going to work really well. It just doesn't work. And then, if you want to incentivize them, I'm not going to push you to do that, but the swag and the bonus at the end of the year sounds really good. So at this point, we've got a couple microphones, one's here and the one's around, or just scream really loud. We'll open it up for some Q&A. I know we had at least one in the jacket there and then one right there.
Yep.
So I'm a trial customer. I'm not a customer in Motive now.
Get out.
So,
I'm just kidding. I'm in sales. You come over here.
If I followed yesterday's morning meeting correctly with workforce management, the training options that are possibly coming in the future, how do you see, and not putting the cart before the horse, but do y'all see AI being able to be used as a tool in like the training aspects in the future, as far as like I provide a script on what our pre-trip policy is, and you can create AI models to create a custom pre-trip policy thing internally?
Totally. So basically the question is there like, can we further customize, and I think you're specifically talking about training, not necessarily, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think like that's the kind of feedback that we want to hear. Not all training, just like not all coaching is kind of, one size fits all, right? And you want it to be tailored, and you might want fleet specific sort of, customization, which is where we want to go with AI Coach. I can see the same thing for training. It's not sort of just one training program fits all. So yeah, I mean, that feedback is great. We'd love to kind of dig deeper on that and maybe even have you talk to the workforce team and we can talk about, what you're looking for there.
And you're in trial, so absolutely yes, we can do it. Make a lot of promises.
Yeah.
So I'm a customer, and curious about the positive. I love the positive events.
Yeah.
Is
me
that
too.
going to potentially in the future impact their score positively? So like we've got the negative events, but then the positive events may help influence that algorithm and score.
I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense, right? I agree with you. And so that is something we're going to do in the second half of the year. Okay. So initially, it's surfacing those events. Actually, we do the same thing since you're a customer with a lot of our new AI. They start as beta behaviors, and then we'll build them into the safety score as a customization option once they come out of beta and are official sort of like generally available AI behaviors. Positive behaviors will do the same thing. So we'll feed it into the safety score, we'll make it customizable, right? Just like we do with the safety score today. It'll be a first-class citizen sort of behavior in our system. So that is something we're going to work on.
Yeah. And I'm assuming that's, so when at MHC, when we view a positive / what we call near collision unavoidable, we put like a hashtag in the notes, and I think you're probably using those events to coach up the model down the road, I would assume.
I mean, we love the data, and I know you all are very diligent in putting those notes in for sure. But also, like now, you can just do it directly as a positive driving event in the system. So certainly.
Anytime you go from red to green, it's good.
And then I'm just curious. There's certain alerts that we can see from the customizable center. But there's certain alerts that we don't know about or that so I'm curious, is there an in-cab collision alert when they get in a collision? And if there is, I don't know the value of that.
We do not have an in-cab alert for a collision. Generally it's the theory, or I guess, or the idea is for things that the driver can control and that we want them to stop, like get off your cell phone, stop tailgating. That's where we want to alert. A collision is a little bit different of a scenario where we really want to give visibility to the back office. At that point, the driver knows they've been in a collision. So it's more about how do we just make sure that when that happens, right, we capture that. And that's where hopefully you've seen those high severity collisions, the high intensity ones, the rollovers. We do a great job of capturing those and giving you visibility within minutes when those happen, or near collisions as well. And that's, again, vision-based collisions we want to augment for lower intensity ones. But that's all meant for event capture in the back office so that you have all the context of what happened. It's not an in-cab alert.
Okay, and then last one, on the scoring weights, how come it's out of 50 and not 100 points? Because we've got 100 points available. I'd love to distribute all 100. And it's probably, you've just halved it, and then we just got to be careful with the points. But I would love to have 100 points to allocate.
It's good feedback. I mean, I think what we find is the key thing with our safety score that we want to enable is, can you properly differentiate between different drivers, right? That's the whole point. How do you stratify your whole fleet in a meaningful way so you know who your excellent drivers are, who your good and who your bad drivers are, or your fair drivers, as we call them in the system. And so we do that effectively with the safety score as it's built today. Whether it's a 1,000-point scale, 100, or a 50, that actually, in my opinion, matters less as long as we can differentiate between them. In our case with the safety score, we have a score range from 50 to 100. So we don't go anywhere lower than 50 the way it's built today. An analogy maybe in the industry is like your FICO score. Like that doesn't go below, I think, 350, if I remember right. 300 or 350. Also maxes out at like 800 or 850, I think. So it's a defined range, but again, as long as you can stratify accordingly within that range, it doesn't, you still get the right outcome. And so we do that with our range of 50 to 100. And so you're allocating, you're going to get some number of points automatic, like for sure for a behavior. But then the question is, do you get all of the points or not? And that's the delta between 50 and 100. So that's our general sort of philosophy on the scoring.
Finally got my FICO up to 400 so I can get that Nissan Versa they were talking about yesterday. Stoked.
Yes, please. Mike, coming your way.
Yeah, I was just curious about your newsletter, if you guys do a newsletter, just to be able to inform current customers of new product releases and things like that. Because obviously, y'all right now are releasing a lot of things pretty quickly. So there's always new features coming out. And as a customer we're actually in implementation right now, about halfway through. One of the reasons we partner with you guys is we share the same vision as y'all. And so I think long term it's going to be a great thing. We're not partnered with you now because you have everything we want now.
Yeah.
Because we're going down the path together. But as those things come out, I'd like to be able to know about them instead of clicking around and
totally.
I found a feature today that came out like I guess a week or two ago, and I was like, wow, that's really awesome.
Can I ask which one?
So it was the feature for being able to customize like which events you want to be able to self-coach.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. So I thought that was great because when I first looked at it, it's like, well, a cell phone event, I don't want you to be able to self-coach.
I see.
But if it's a speeding event or low severity, whatever other one you want, hard braking,
self-coach all day. Yeah,
exactly.
Got it. Awesome feedback. What I guess underlying that question is you feel like maybe the visibility into new features is not always there.
Well, I may just not know if y'all do put that information.
Yeah.
I just want to know.
Yeah, we have a few mechanisms. So one is like we have like what are called Pendo guides, like in the platform, where when a new feature is launched, you'll see like a little box that guides you to that thing and informs you, and it's like 2 or 3 or 4 steps. Okay. So whenever a new feature launches, when you go in for the first time and that feature is launched, like, hey, by the way, check this out. We have this new self-coaching thing. So we do that. We have blog posts whenever we launch new items as well. And like product announcements actually, like in our blog and help center. So there's that as well. We obviously have the CSM connection, but that's maybe not as automated, right? It's not. It's a personal connection. But there's probably more we can do here. Newsletters. Do we do newsletters? What else? What else from our marketing manager over here?
Well, yeah. So my thought would be like a quarterly or monthly newsletter that kind of highlights those things. The downside to me about when you first log in and you get one-time walkthrough is I'm doing something. I don't care about this right this second. I'm trying to do something.
X out of it. Get your task done.
Yeah,
get it.
That's fair.
Yeah, so we actually heard customer feedback on the Pendo guide, so we have scaled that back. But in replacement of that, we do like the monthly customer newsletter that highlights our top features, and then there is a feed through the help center that you can subscribe to, and then that's where you get visibility to all the features, not just like top features.
Awesome.
What's definitely.
Yep, I got it. So there's a monthly newsletter. If you're not getting that, we can make sure you get subscribed. And then within the Help Center, you can actually subscribe to get updates there as well.
Like all new product announcements will go through the Help Center. Yep. So what Ling was saying is, to his point, you can subscribe to it so that you're just getting that automatically. That's a great point. So let's make sure that anybody that needs that, like talk to your CSMs, talk to me. Let's make sure that we get you those updates on a regular basis. Yeah. What else?
So I don't know about you guys, but according to our drivers, it's never their fault. And
never their fault, ever.
The AI coach, is that a one-way conversation, or would they be able to take comments and respond to the driver's concerns as far as what happened in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, y'all are like already really thinking about a roadmap, which is pretty impressive. You're thinking many steps ahead. I think like there's an opportunity for us to do more back and forth dialogue, right? Right now it's a one-way delivery. How does the actual coaching session happen? Hopefully there's more than just a one-way delivery. So is it a conversational AI situation yet? No, but we'll get there because the tech is getting really good, and we want to be as good as the AI tech is, right? As AI tech keeps evolving, like with our team, with our R&D team, with our engineering team, we want to be as good as that technology. So in that way, as conversational AI gets better, and it's actually getting already pretty phenomenal, if I'm being honest, just over the last weeks and months, we want to actually build that into the AI coach as well. I do. So that it is more of a back and forth, right? And you can actually have like a proper tailored conversation. They can give feedback to the coach. So I do think that's how AI coach will evolve.
Cool. I think we have one more, and then we'll have to wrap with a thunderous applause to make them jealous.
Yeah, back to the cell phone issue that I think everybody's having. Is there any way that we could possibly build a customized, maybe not AI feedback, but to tell them what our company policy is on cell phone usage specifically, and then not only for our company policy, but for regulatory requirements as well for the CMV drivers?
Yeah. Again, not to be a broken record, but great point, and also something that we are strongly considering on our roadmap. So I've gotten this feedback where you all have very specific policies, even with specific wording on like how you want it delivered. And so I think like we're not there yet with AI Coach, but imagine a world where you can input sort of like, here's my like handbook, right? Driver safety handbook. You input that into the system learns, here are the key elements of it. Maybe you even fine tune, like here's the specific words I want incorporated into the coach script. And then that just happens with the AI, and it's just ingesting that, right? I think like that's also where we're headed, because you all do have very specific policies and you want to make sure things are tailored even beyond what we're doing here. So I think that's a very natural progression of where we head.
Awesome. Well, huge thank you to Nihar for explaining all that, going into detail.
Huge thank you.
Massive thank you
to Clint.
Yes.
Also, thank you for joining us. Yeah.
And thank you all. Oh, one more time. See, I told you to remind me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Anybody want to be involved in the AI Coach beta? Definitely let us know. Come to Ling. We'll get signed up. Or Nihar.
We'll be here after if you want to chat with us.
So if you want to test it out, let us know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.